Welcome to English Borders, dear all. We are so excited to see all of you. And as tradition, every Thursday at 6 p.m., we welcome everyone to join EWB Thursday webinar. And we call it Investment Time for teachers who want to gain first-hand experience from our specialist professionals in the English language teaching field. And as always, speakers, and it's double enjoyment for us to welcome Marhabo Kholmurodova again to EWB Thursday webinars. And of course, for those of you who are familiar with Marhabo, maybe you had the opportunity to interact with her during the EWB activities. For those of you who are not familiar, let me share some information about our speaker today. Welcome, Marhabo, first of all, to you. And of course, Leah, we'll give the floor to you in a while. So, yeah, please meet Marhabo. Marhabo Kholmurodova holds a BA in Linguistics, English and French from Horog State University, Tajikistan, and a Certificate of Education from the Aga Khan University, Pakistan. She's an English instructor and teacher trainer at the University of Central Asia School of Professional and Continuing Education, actively contributing to English department projects. And she was Fulbright, and she studied at Claremont University, USA. Marhabo had presented at international conferences, including CADEC, and is a two-time EWB Master Workshop Grant recipient. And in 2022, she was awarded EWB Innovative Teacher of the Year award. And we welcome once again you, Marhabo, and today she will be talking about the very interesting topic, formative assessment, and she will bring some fresh ideas from the field how to implement formative assessment for effective teaching and learning. And you all, please get engaged, and yes, you can join the session, and of course, leave your questions in the chat box or comment box, whoever just watching us from Facebook or Zoom. So let's get started, and over to you, Marhabo. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nasiba. Thank you so much for your invitation. And I'm always happy to share and cascade knowledge with other English language teachers, and as well as to participate in your webinars, because English Without Borders is one of my favorite platform who work with the EW. So it's my pleasure to be a speaker again for English Without Borders. And this time I'm going to share, as you have already mentioned, I'm going to talk about formative assessment for English language in English language classrooms. So I hope everybody sees my presentation. I tried to share my screen. If you see my screen, just thumbs up. If you see my screen. So classroom assessment, this is what I'm going to talk about today. And I also presented this week in the conference, and I had many people from different places who were as participants in my session, and I hope they liked it. So the objective for today's presentation is, of course, the very important and first objective and sharing of best practices among teachers. This is why we gather here and we present activities to identify the concepts, terms related to formative assessment. So we will be a bit diving into theory of what is formative assessment in general, what is classroom assessment. And then later, I hope we'll be able to explore various formative assessment strategies applicable in English language teaching, which we can I hope you will be able to use after this webinar. You will get some ideas of how can you or what techniques and strategies can you use in your classroom every day. These are the objective for today's webinar. So first, I would like you to share in the chat station one assessment strategy currently in use. I mean, the one that maybe you use frequently, or the one that you frequently use or you use today maybe in your classroom. Can you please share in the chat what technique, what strategy do you frequently use to assess your students? Thank you. Popcorn, okay. Exit ticket, yes. Quizzes, Kahoot, yeah, my favorite. Yes.
Good morning, dear teachers.
Hello.
Yeah, good. It is evening already. In order to assess, in order to assess students during the class, we can use tests. We can use. We can take dictations or essay writing. All of them are assessment which we use during our lessons.
Thank you, Zebo, for sharing. I see question. Mary is writing chat questions. Good. Yes, we do use questions to assess our students, knowledge of what we gave them, maybe before the class or in the class. We give them some tasks and then we ask questions. Very frequently, actually, very often teachers use questioning technique. They ask questions to check. Bamboozle, yes. Debrief, asking questions, yes. Very good. I also notice Kahoot quizzes, maybe paper quizzes. Sometimes we give tests or worksheets. Sometimes we use like Google quizzes, maybe. So I see that many people integrate technology, which is great. We have lots of tools, let's say, that can be used to assess our students' knowledge. So I noticed in the chart that we have BlueKit. Yes, Sarvinos. BlueKit also one of the tools that can be used to frequently use. I love exit tickets. I often use them. Both entrance tickets are very engaging. Like students use them to assess. Like teachers use them to assess students' knowledge. Thank you so much for sharing. For writing in the chat and sharing your latest, let's say, strategy. Next, I wanted to dive a bit into classroom assessment. So in this slide, I have what is classroom assessment is an ongoing process through which teachers and students interact to promote greater learning.
Hello, dear all. Can I share?
Assessment. Hello.
Muqaddam, so let Marhabo present, and then of course we will have a Q&A session where you can ask your question, or you can type your question in the chat box, so we'll get back to that later on.
Thank you, Muqaddam. The assessment process emphasizes data collection of student performance to diagnose learning problems, monitor progress, and give feedback for improvement. Using multiple assessment methods and techniques, as we have already discussed in the chart station, you gave various techniques you use. Teachers gather. Like, why do we use them? One of the let's say aim information about what you know and able to do, and provide positive of course, supportive, constructive feedback to our students. They also teachers use this information to diagnose individual needs and to improve their instruction hourly. Characteristics here, characteristics of classroom assessment. So learner-centered focus is on observing and improving learning, improving teaching, and teacher-directed. The teacher decides what to assess, how to assess, and how to respond to the information gained through the assessment. And now again, I have some, again, use the chat station, or you can speak and try to answer to this question. How do we understand assessment for learning, pre-assessment, maybe doesn't, or word for pre-assessment that you use, summative assessment, formative assessment, assessment as learning. So I would like you again to share ideas do you have, terms and concepts. How do we understand? Summative, yes, Zebo. Thank you. Summative at the end of the course. Excellent. The third one is great. The third one is great. Okay. Next, we have Zebo. Formative during the course. Yes, Zebo, you are absolutely right. Sarvinos, pre-assessment or placement test. Okay. Formative assessment during the course. Yes. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else wants to say, maybe to add into the chart? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. We have pre-assessment before the course. Okay, so we have some ideas of pre-assessment, formative assessment, summative assessment, assessment for learning, to use assessment to improve weaknesses of students. Thank you. I think this is Zuhra. Thank you for your comment. Okay, any other ideas? Assessment as learning, what we can learn from mistakes. Okay, thank you, Nasiba. Thank you for sharing. I think we have one more. Formative assessment, Abdulkholiq. Yes, formative assessment in process of the lesson. Thank you so much for sharing your ideas. Let's have a look at the, let's say, definitions for these terms. So we have AFL, AOL, and AAL. Assessment for learning is a form of assessment which helps to identify the strengths and weaknesses in students' learning or in a teacher's approach to improve the learning. Formative assessment would be a prime example of this. So assessment for learning and formative assessment are the same, which helps us to identify the strengths and weaknesses of our students. Or in a teacher's approach, this can also help us to change our own approach. Like, it's not only about the students, but it's also about the teacher, who also needs to reflect approaches she uses in the classroom. And of course, make them, make them like align them with the students' needs. Assessment of learning, a form of assessment where the goal is to determine what the students have taken from the lessons, typically at the end of a unit. At the end of a unit or a year or whatever time frame is established, and summative assessment would be the best example of this. So we can say that assessment of learning and summative assessments are the same, which we teachers implement at the end of our course. Assessment as learning occurs when students are their own assessors. So I think this can also be a very good approach when we ask students to assess their own work. And students monitor their own learning, ask questions, and use a range of strategies to decide what they know and can do and how to use assessment information for new learning. So this can also enables them to work independently, to think about. So it's not only the teacher's job, let's say, to always think and make conclusions and to change approaches, but it's also the students who need to take responsibilities, accountabilities of their learning, and also need to I think we need to involve our students in this process as well. So in the chart station again, what does a teacher do? I think this is clear now. We can skip this, and we can talk about pre-assessments, as you already also shared of your ideas about pre-assessment. So the other word for pre-assessment can be diagnostic tests. For, as Sarvinoz mentioned in the chart, diagnostic tests are placement tests, but I would change it a little bit, maybe saying that a pre-assessment and diagnostic tests can be implemented after the placement test. We place the students, and then in the group, for example, we have 16 students who are aiming to study pre-intermediate level. Before I start my course, I give my students diagnostic test. I want to see the general level is identified. Students go and study after placement test. They go and study pre-intermediate level, but inside the classroom, I, with my 16, 15 students, 12 students, I give them diagnostic tests to find out what are their strengths and weaknesses, so that I can tailor my instructions so that they align with my students' needs in my class. So I administered before students begin a lesson, unit, course, or academic program. Use two. Number one, establish a baseline against which educators measure learning progress over the duration of a program, course, or instructional period. We have example, pre-intermediate level students study for 4 months, let's say, and this can be a time we use to work on our students' weaknesses that we have identified at the beginning of the course. Number two, determine general academic readiness for a course, program, grade level, or new academic program that student may be transferring into. Next, formative assessment, in some information about formative assessment. So if we look at the pictures, we have two pictures, whereas the children are in the process of cooking something, and at the same time, the product is not ready, but they are trying to taste and see what else do they need to add, or what else is needed to do here. In process, evaluations of students' learning that are typically administered multiple times during a lesson, unit, course, or academic program. I've already mentioned during the course. The general purpose of formative assessment is to give educators in-process feedback about what students are learning or not learning so that instructional approaches, teaching materials, and academic support can be modified accordingly. We usually give feedback to students. Sometimes we talk to them individually, and sometimes we also involve parents, because and sometimes we have to involve the administration as well, because this is not only our job. I think everyone should be an accountability of three: teachers, the school administration, and parents as well. Usually not scored or graded, and they may take a variety of forms, from quizzes and assignments to informal questioning techniques and in class discussions with students. As you at the beginning also quizzes, some other digital tools, questioning, Mary mentioned, class discussions. They will depend on the teachers. It will depend on the class you teach, the course you teach. There can be formal tests for formative assessment, or informal, so the teacher decides. And summative assessment used to evaluate, like at the pictures. If we look at the pictures, they can demonstrate that the product is ready, and now one likes, the other doesn't. So this is at the end of the course, used to evaluate students' learning, typically at the end of a unit, course, semester, program, or school year. Typically scored and graded tests, assignments, or projects that are used to determine whether students have learned what they were expected to learn during the defined instructional period. Formative assessment encompasses a variety of strategies used selectively to accomplish one or more of the following purposes: monitor students' learning and provide feedback to students and parents. As I already mentioned, not only students but parents as well. Identify areas of growth, motivate students, and provide incentive to studies, help focus attention and effort. Then emphasize that what is important to learn, provide in applying, demonstrating, and extending knowledge, skills, attitudes, encourage goal setting, and monitor achievement of goals. And reflect on program structure and effectiveness, and modify or adjust teaching as necessary. And I have some questions here after the theory. Anyone can speak, or you can also write in the chat. Why is formative assessment called at the heart of effective teaching? How could we, let's say, relate the heart of effective teaching with formative assessment? How does formative assessment help improve students' achievements? And why is the use of formative, if you think it is problematic, why do you think it is still problematic? People can speak, or you can write in the chart. The floor is yours. Anybody can unmute yourself and speak, or you can write in the chat station. Teachers heavily rely on old-fashioned assessment, which are stressful for students. Yes, I do agree. And they demotivate students. Yes, dear participants, you can unmute yourself, you can speak, or you can write in the chat. As Zarina Mirzo, as it is based on regular it is considered effective. Exactly. If we, for example, try to if we try to assess, like use different techniques to assess students, if we do it frequently, yes, it can help students improve their knowledge. It can be effective for students. Learning and assessment should be encouraging, not discouraging students. Yes, I do agree. So, okay, good. Yes. So when students know what at the end of each class, when they know where are they, like what do they need to do next time. So if we give feedback and we tell students like you need to pay attention and we need to be very careful and precise, and we need to try to give precise feedback that students think about, and they also change accordingly. They make improvements. Formative assessment is problematic because sometimes students do not take it as an advantage. They say, teacher, it is the test that is not so important. Yeah, because if we give students every time tests, this will make
Dear
them very
teachers,
negative. Yes.
can I share my experience with formative assessment? After each unit, we have formative assessment, and always it means that after 2 or 3 lessons, we again and again we have tests. So it is going to be too boring and problematic for the students in order to have always tests and tests. This is I think it is a negative side of formative assessment, but in order to achieve and improve students' knowledge, formative assessment, it is very important because you can understand the level knowledge of your student, and you can exactly work where they want. You can find the exact mistakes, and you can develop students' knowledge.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much. Anybody else wants to speak, to say? I also have, yeah.
Yes,
Mary, do you want to speak?
yeah. I want to share about one of my students, which he has a disease which he cannot understand well, but he tries so much that all teachers give him 3 marks, but he tries. I know that he don't know English well, but he tries so much. He copied the exercises. He tries so much, and I give him mark 4. And all the teachers surprised. In this mark change his, I think it changed his life. And then his parents said that he didn't sleep 3 days, and he tried so much. He searched a teacher for English course, and he asked me that, teacher, can you open English course? And I want to participate it. And then he participated in my sister's, which she conducted a course, and he participated there. And it was affecting so much to other subjects too. And all teachers said me that he changed immediately. What you done that he changed so much? I think sometimes assessment, giving mark, it is affects students so much.
Yes.
Thank
you for sharing, and thank you for doing this.
Okay, Marhabo, can I say?
For changing. Yes.
Can I say?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes.
I'm going to talk about the formative assessment classroom that is problematic. I think that it is really problematic formative assessment, as we know from our daily lives. For example, in every day in our parents' chat and WhatsApp, we have a lot of concerns regarding this formative assessment. For example, students, they receive 5 and in work or in reading, in writing, they receive 4, and it will affect their term grade.
Yeah.
I think it is problematic.
Yes, I do agree with you.
It is
Yes.
really
And I think the teacher should question himself or herself his approach of thinking about this and preparing students, not preparing for, as we see, as we know, in the schools we get grades and students get grades. So the teacher needs to reflect on it and change her approach and choose strategies that can help students to get that grade for the control work as well. Because in the classroom, we are responsible uh, for the learning process, and we need to find ways. If first time this didn't work, we need to change and seek and find another way, so that we help students to get those grades, good grades, during the control work as well, or dictations as well. Before we take dictation, we need to prepare our students to think of various techniques to implement in the class, so that the students learn the words. And when the students learn the words or the phrases or whatever the dictation is going to be about, because the teacher knows what the dictation is going to be about, or the control work, so we need to prepare them for the testing or for the control work or for all these things. Thank you, Meranges, for sharing. I think Himbat is here, and I see, thank you, Himbat, for joining us. And I see your comment in the chat. Assessment for learning is formative assessment. Assessment of learning is a summative assessment. Pre-assessment is a diagnostic assessment. Very correct answers to my question. Thank you, Himbat. Grading is extrinsic motivation and demotivation as well. Yes, you are absolutely right, Nasiba. Okay, thank you so much for sharing. And now I want to request Zuhro to help me with the rooms. So we have let's see, let's have maybe 3 rooms, and also the main session. So some people will be working with me in the main session, and some people will be sent to breakout rooms to explore some formative assessment techniques, and come back to present those techniques to to everyone in the main session. Okay, so this is what we are going to do next.
So,
I
Marhabo,
will
how much time
stop
you will
sharing.
need for the
Yes.
breakout rooms?
In the breakout rooms, no more than 5 minutes, maximum 6 minutes. Students, participants, the teachers identify that, read that or listen to a video, or, go to any website. I'm going to provide links, documents, videos, and then they explore that technique and they present it in the main session. I think 6 maximum is enough.
So I opened the breakout rooms, but dear participants, some of you please stay in the main room. Don't go to your breakout, okay?
Zuhra, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
What if I want to share the materials with people in the rooms? Should I share them in the chat? And how do we do this? Or can I join the rooms to share and then come back?
I don't know if as a co-host you can do it, but can you please click on breakout rooms on your laptop and see if you are able to join any
Yes.
room you want? If not, then
Yes,
you can
I'm
send.
doing this.
So you're able to move between rooms, right?
Okay.
Good.
I think I'm able. But first, I will share a link here in the chat station for the people who are in this room, in this main session. So just a second. People who are in session, please go to the link. And how many people do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people. Please go to the link and study the assessment tool there. And, in 5 minutes, talk about it. You can, in this room, you can unmute yourself and you can discuss it. First, you need 2 minutes to quickly go through the information.
Dear teachers, Marhabo is sending the link to the article. You need to go and read the information in the article and discuss it in your group.
Do we have only to watch the video from YouTube?
Now, if you see the link in the chat, there is an article, the article that I'm currently sharing on my screen. So you need to carefully read this article first and then start discussing it together. And as our time is limited, I think you have to be already done with your reading. So you need to start discussion now.
Yeah. Also, that video, it was also about popsicle stick.
Yes, it is all about this type of assessment.
Okay, could you watch the video? Were you
Yes.
able?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bakhti Begim, could you please go to the room 3
It
because
was
people
about,
there
yes,
are asking
you
for
can
help.
talk about it, you can discuss it, and I think the rooms will close soon. There are.
They were on the link which you sent. There was only a video. That video about was using popsicle stick, but they were not an article. And I watched.
So if you already watched the video and read the text, I think you can start discussing it. Let's see whom we have in this room. So here are Zaranges, Mehrabonu, Taibahon, Zibo, and Zarina. So your assessment type was popsicle sticks, right? So please share what do you think about this assessment type.
Yeah, popsicle. It was popsicle stick. It was in order the teacher used this kind of assessment. She or he will not name the students, and just like showing this kind of stick, she is going to. This was.
Have you ever heard anything about this assessment before this webinar?
Not. In order to be honest, it was my first time, and it was my first time which I heard about it.
So what do you think? Can you use it in your future classes? Can it be adapted to your teaching practices?
Yes, of course. Why not? Yeah, of course. I'm eager to use this kind of assessment.
Yeah, I think this is a really good thing to increase engagement and kind of in a fun way to assess students' understanding of the new material.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
So what
Yeah,
other
it is
participants
it
think?
is the funniest way in order to assess students. Even they can they.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I think we can close now the rooms. What do you think? Because not like huge strategies, just techniques. Let's say we can close the rooms now and come back to the main session to hear from the groups. What have they identified, in their rooms?
Yes, I already
Thank
closed
you,
the
Zukra.
rooms. They will be back like in a few
While,
seconds.
yes. Thank you, Zukra. While people are coming back, I want to share another document in the chart station, which is called 60 Formative Assessment PDF document. I hope you see it in the chart station. And I would kindly request you to download it for you because you can see, 60 techniques to, to use in your classrooms. Welcome back. This is what we could do with we had a lot of people, and this is how we could manage. I want to share my screen with a document that I have just shared in the breakout in the chat station actually. Here you can find tools for formative assessment, techniques, to check for understanding, processing, activities. But, before we look at this, I think everybody is back now. Let's share. Who wants to share what techniques you found, you identified in your groups? And please, you can unmute yourself and you can speak. One person from each group can speak. Yes, please go ahead.
In our group, the link which you sent to our group, there was a video which we watched, and they were talking about popsicle stick, something in a funny way in order to assess students. Even they can't mention that they are assessing by teacher. We can use it during our lessons in order, because I love it, because it is a funniest assessment in order to use it during the classes.
Thank you, Zebo, for sharing. Thank you so much. Anybody else wants to speak? How about the ABC card? Anybody managed to?
In group 3, we had ABCD cards.
Yes.
We can create cards. For example, one set of cards for a group of students, and we can, for example, show them a question, and we have 4 options. And from these 4 options, they can choose. They can show the correct one: A, B, C, or D.
Okay. What do you think about this technique? Anybody can speak from this group, Merangiz. If you want to speak, or maybe anybody else wants to add, you can do that. What do you think? Is it yes?
So the
you are a bit choppy, Bahtibegi. Yes, we can hear you now. Yes.
Can you? Okay, so from the 4 cards, yes, a set of cards that student might choose the wrong one, and it will be a kind of signal for teacher to give more clear instruction to that student, and it can be helpful for the student to work on their mistakes. That is really good.
Thank you, Bahtibegim, for sharing. Okay, how about others? How about others? Please talk about the technique you identified in your groups.
Okay, in group 2, we had one strategy of formative assessment that there is a 2 stars. One is wish and the other is star, which students, they are not writing their names, but they are writing the praise, and then they are writing wish, how to say, so prize, Polish, and they are and then teachers collect all the stars, and then I think teacher will read these stars and then to assess the students.
Thank you so much, Mary, for sharing. Anybody else wants to speak, to add to what Mary said, or to add something else? No? Okay, for going through the videos, reading, through the PDFs and the websites to check for the techniques. So as I already mentioned in the chat station, I shared with you a document called 60 Formative Assessment Techniques or Tools, and I'm sharing my screen right now and showing you the techniques that you can use every day in your classrooms as a formative assessment. Of course, to prepare your students for the bigger assessment, which is summative assessment, as Merengis talked about control work, dictations, and so on forth. So these techniques and these strategies help students to improve their knowledge and make them ready for, or let's say, prime them for the bigger assessment. Index cards, summaries, questions, hand signals. So you have the description also here, a 1 minute essay, different ones. Some of them you also mentioned, self-assessment, as we talked about, this exit card quizzes, you said, portfolio checks. So, lots of about 60 different oral questioning, as you mentioned at the beginnings. Mary has mentioned questioning, tic-tac-toe, think-tac-toe. These are the small four corners. You can use them in your classes every day. So you see the list, which has about 60 formative assessment tools, which can be used in your classes every day. Okay, so I think I have some other modified and adapt. The questioning can also be used differently in the classroom. So this, of course, depends on the creativity of the teacher and the knowledge the teacher has about formative assessment and how to implement formative assessment in her classroom. So, and this is, well, actually, we discussed written feedback. Sometimes we give students written feedback. It's also important for students to go through our notes and see what suggestions we give to our students. And so on forth. Feedback, written feedback is also important, and it can also be as a formative assessment. So I think will not go further than that. I will share my screen. I will share my slides with English Without Borders teams, and they can, I think in there you can find them in the website, and you can go through these all formative assessment tools. Now I would like you to think about these 3 questions, and you can share in the chart. Number one, what is one new formative assessment strategy you plan to implement in your classroom after this webinar? How do you envision using formative assessment to support students' learning? And what challenges do you foresee in implementing these strategies, and how might you address them? You can pick up one question and answer in the chat, not necessarily all three questions, but you can answer to one question in the chart.
Yeah, as for me, I would like to use as a formative assessment during my lesson popsicle stick, which I did too much. But also, dear teacher, I wanted you, can you please share all the links which you divided us to the groups, but we have only one. If it is possible, it is going to be our pleasure if you're going to share all of them with us. Thank you so much.
Of course, I will share. Um, Anybody else, like, you can unmute yourself and you
Sorry,
can
please.
speak,
Good evening, dear Mrs.
answer to any question. Yes.
How are you doing this warm? How are you doing these days? Sorry for being included very late. My apologize. What was the question? Can you please repeat it one more time?
The questions are on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I will...
Formative assessment. One of the strategies that I use during my class in formative assessment, I usually teach mostly kids. Then I came to upgrades. But before, when I was teaching kids, I just assessed them. I gave assessment, like I gave stickers for them, not marks, but the sticker. On the sticker, there was some animals, some shapes, some graphic designs. I gave them like my assessment. The kids loved them.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
It was
so
kind
much.
of assessing them, like putting grades, not putting grades on their diary, but kind of rewarding them, regarding them by this way.
Thank you so much for sharing. The questions are in the chart. You can, you can refer to the questions there and write your answers in the chart, or you can unmute yourself and speak. If you don't have any, if you don't want to answer the questions, you can ask questions and we can discuss.
Can I ask, what about you personally, you yourself, what tactics or what strategies do you mostly prefer using in your classroom?
I try to, I try to use different techniques. These 60 formative assessment techniques that I was shared with before. I shared it with you. I try to use different each time. I think I'm now more into rubrics. I try to design rubrics myself, and I also give like there are some ready rubrics as well to give to students, and students can use them. But myself, I try to use different ones. Exit ticket is one of my favorite. I use it frequently. And it depends. It depends what I teach. I also ask students to answer to questions at the end, like today I did at the end of my class. I display 2-3 questions for my students, and I ask them to answer to the questions. Sometimes I use cards, like, for example, red, blue, or green, different cards with different questions. If you didn't understand, anything, you pick red. And so if you are stuck, you pick red card. And that way this helps me, to identify where the students are and what do I need to do next class.
Thank you so much. Appreciation for every single detail. You explained it very clearly, very obviously. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, Teacher Marhabo, can I ask one question?
Yes, of course.
Okay, when you mentioned about the questions, answer to the question, and you thought that we can write, for example, the students can write their answer or answer to the questions, or they can talk about the question and answer. Usually we do it every time, and it makes so boring for students, becoming so boring for them. And I have one question that, do you have any, for example, techniques that to change this kind of methodology into another? Maybe you have a new techniques to share with us in order we are change our techniques.
Okay, we talked about questioning at the beginning. That
Sorry, I haven't
yeah.
connection.
No, it's
because
fine.
of
I was just, trying to tell you that some participants mentioned questioning as a formative assessment in the chart station. And at the end, as you see, we also had in my slides, questioning is also mentioned, because questioning is also one of the formative assessment tool that can be used. But as I mentioned, also we also need to change the questioning. Not all the time, the teacher asks, but we need to find ways. As teachers, we need to search and find ways to implement this questioning in various ways. So if today I ask question, the other day I would ask my students to, if today they really answer to my questions, verbally they answer to my questions, next time I will ask them to write answers to the questions. The other time I would, for example, ask my students to work in groups, so I don't need an individual answer to a question, but group answers to a question. And then to make it more engaging and more interesting, I would ask the other group, for example, what do you think about their answer to this particular question?
in order to prove it.
And for example, students can comment on each other's questions, so to make it more interesting and more engaging. Sit, as was mentioned in one of my slides. For example, another time you can organize hot seat and again use the questioning technique. So there can be various ways to let's say to modify the usual questioning method. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
Oh, right. So please go ahead.
Dear teachers, I have something here. It is partly it is clear to me, but partly not. Summative assessment also important and formative, but why formative have to be in the top?
Zebo, the question is, you're asking about the slides, or generally what is formative assessment,
Yes,
what is
Madam
formative assessment?
in general, as I understood, formative assessment it
Assessment
is
is,
in top, then summative.
yeah,
Why it should be in the top? Because we have to work with the current knowledge of our students.
because we gather feedback, we gather information, we gather data with formative assessment to help students to succeed in summative assessment.
Yeah,
Yes, summative is
because
that
we are
yeah.
we are preparing them for students. It have to same. Partly it was clear for me, but partly I ask it you.
Thank you for your
so
question.
much, dear teacher.
Thank you for the question.
All right, thank you so much, dear all. Thank you once again, Marhabo, for a very interesting and insightful webinar. Topic will still remain one of the most wanted among EWB audience, because teachers always struggle through this formative assessment. Some of them still use old-fashioned assessment. For this webinar just was able to open the door for different perspectives of how formative assessment can be done. And this is really great. And of course, yes, dear all, we appreciate your active participation. And once again, let me remind you, that investing your time to your professional development is possible. You don't need just, we understand that sometimes you don't have, extra time, but investing your time into your self-development, at least 1 hour a week, makes a long way process, and success in the future. So thank you again, and we welcome you to join more EWB webinars, and we look forward to more webinars with Marhabo Kholmurodova, EWB Innovative Teacher of the year of 2022, and of to see you in more webinars. And of course, please save your spot at EWB National Conference year, because it's going to be a fantastic event. The fifth, just golden golden conference. And please participate in EWB webinars to save your spot at this fantastic event this fall. Thank you so much, dear all. Wishing all of you to have a great evening, and expand your professional development, use these strategies, and become a better teacher every day.
Thank you
so
so much to you,
Thank you, Nasiba.
dear Madima
Thank
John,
you,
in order
everyone.
to provide us such a chance,
Thank you.
opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you.
our pleasure to see all of you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.